All right.
All right, we're live. So are we all set? So thank you and welcome everybody to the Founders Couch. We've sat on this for over a week now. Myself, along with a few of the other startup founders in the room, Megan, uh, Gavin, and Joel Apart. Today, our guest speaker is Joel Apart. For those of you who don't know, in the Houston ecosystem, Joe Alapart is the founder of Lion Guard. And so we have him here today to talk about community building. He and I Joe has been one of my mentors, and we've shared conversations about community building and its impact, particularly focused on understanding the problems, right? Design, I think one of the conversations you mentioned a few weeks ago was building a startup around the problem, not necessarily the solutions. So that being said, I want to start the section on maybe you inform us a little bit about Lions Guard, what your story was, and how you got to be Lions Guard.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not the company. I try to separate myself. You've got to separate yourself from the business. But I always jokingly say I lost my hair running my previous business, which was a technology service provider. We did cybersecurity, IT, software development. We did something I don't recommend to any founder, which is we did everything for everyone. And it's the worst thing you can do as a business, but it gave us a unique perspective into like many different industries, many different problem sets. So this was from 2001 to 2014. And thankfully, we built a business that scaled over time, and we had an acquirer come to buy the business. And so when we sold the business, it gave me the opportunity to actually step aside, actually take a break for a year. So 2015 was a big year for me. In Galveston Island, I recommend that to folks. You got to have a sea breeze, listen to the waves, and really clear your head and think about like, what are you going to do next, right? Yeah. And so there's a lot of anxiety around people saying, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And you're like, "Dude, just slow down. Like I'm trying to figure it out."
What? So when you said you took everything, I enjoyed you say you took on every problem your clients had.
Yeah.
You see it as a problem, but I feel like there's also a solution there because it was the vision it brought out for you was access to the problems technology creates. I think I've heard you say once that you had a better insight into what vector risk surfaces, and attack surface and attack vectors. Can you expand a little bit on how that helped?
Yeah. No, I just talked about it. Yep. Hold right up there in the middle. Hold right here. Okay. Yeah. So thank you. The concept I was actually describing earlier this morning. I don't know how many folks know about Ikigai, right? This Japanese concept, Ikigai, right? What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And ultimately, what can you be paid for? And when you think about just connecting the dots on all four of those things, it's so critical when you're thinking about actually connecting that to the market and thinking about what you're going to focus on, right? What you're actually good at, and how you're thinking about how to address a problem. Yeah. And I think one of the things we talked about recently was this concept of how do we create a rallying group around something like this, right? Like an area of interest that you have.
Driving passion to your project.
Yeah, and so I actually tell folks, and I've gotten some harsh feedback from folks when I'm careful to use the phrase "follow your passion." It's a very overused phrase, and it tends to cause a knee-jerk reaction by most people. It's very skeptical, and what I like to say is follow your curiosity, right? So the places where you ask the most questions, the places where you naturally have curiosity, where the learning continues, so that Monday morning you're still asking the next question, even when Monday mornings, which let's all be clear, those can be difficult, right?
Yeah.
Waking up and having to go back to work when it's not work, right? And when that curiosity is there, that means that you're going to operate at a scale of learning that's much, much faster than your peers. So when I was actually in that jump point from my previous business where I was trying to be everything to everyone, the thing that I learned is I learned a lot. So for those early in their career, I recommend consulting.
Yeah.
Go get some perspective. Understand what the world looks like. How do businesses operate? And I think that's good for learning. But there's a difference between a lifestyle business and a startup, right? Entrepreneurship is a really big bubble, and it's something that I don't know how many folks attending or participating are entrepreneurs, but when you think about an open canvas and you're throwing paint on it, right? It is an absolutely blank canvas. When you do that and you have that act of entrepreneurship, that is a huge leap. Now, there's a small subsection in that, which is those that seek explosive growth, right? Those that are seeking to solve a problem in a way that can cause explosive traction. That's where the narrowing becomes important. Because if you're trying to create that explosiveness, you can look at every successful massive scale company and follow it all the way back to the beginning, past before the headlines where everyone paid attention to the raw headlines, and you'll see a very narrow beginning.
That brings us directly to the point of like today's show being growing your community as a startup. And you mentioned tracing everything back. I want to take us more into community building. So the example I always go back to is startup. If you think of Facebook, you think of Amazon. Each of them started from Facebook started off from a community of college students. Amazon started off from a community of magazine readers. And so when you look at how they grow, what are some of your thoughts on starting the community? For me, instantly rang the bell of every community, every startup works best, with the exception of AI. AI just kind of took .com boom. There are these few technology that comes around once in a decade and is revolutionary. But the mass majority of successful startups often start with community building. And so I kind of wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, community and community building is probably one of the most overused phrases, which I get very passionate about, because the reality is if you use community as a soft word, I think you really get no value out of it. And so when I think about,
what do you mean?
Like when you use it too loosely, and the way I suggest it is, if you are passionate about a challenge, something that the city of Houston's facing, something that you're facing that others are also facing. Let's say it's career pathing, right? This is probably one of the worst markets for candidates to find jobs. Like at least in the 25, 30 years that I've been in the workforce, it is literally the worst time if you're looking for a job and you're straight out of college. It's tough, right? So that's something, if you talk to other candidates that are struggling around this, it's not easy to get people passionate about that topic. And you're exploring the problem, right? And you're not selling them on, hey, this is the new shiny object that's going to save you, right? You're first pouring salt on the wound. And then once you've done that, you're also yanking the scab off.
You mean
right?
by telling them, hey, this is what you're supposed to do?
No, you're exploring the problem with them. And so as a founder, you have to be the best listener of market pain. And market pain is where explosiveness happens. If you're architecting an idea out of thin air, and I have the next idea, where did the root of that idea come from? And who is feeling so challenged by something that ultimately there needs to be a solution? And you're basically searching for this effect, which I say a lot, where someone says, oh my God, Joseph, where have you been all my life? Right? And if you get someone to say that, you know you've pulled on some kind of a heartstring, and you're zoning in on something that they care about. And building a community with people with like-mindedness around that topic, not people who are like, yeah, I'm kind of here just to hang out, which is fine. But if the dense core of that group is not passionate about that topic, you don't have a strong community. And your job is to build like passionate folks who care about the problem, right? And then they will want to solve that problem.
So that's great. Now, one conversation we're talking about earlier on the Founders Friday was taking that passion and first taking the passion and generate it into income, and then it's also speak on Blue Ocean strategy, because you've taught me a great deal about Blue Ocean in terms of referring the book and your practice, the way you go about Lion Guards. Can you help me understand how does building a community play into a Blue Ocean strategy?
That it's a beautiful actually connection point because Blue Ocean Strategy, which is a book I recommend for everyone to read. That phone just really wants to ring down.
Yeah, so sorry.
You shut that baby down. So yeah, because my train of thought is getting lost.
I know.
Just
I am
kidding.
so
Just kidding. I'm
sorry.
just messing
This
with you.
is-
I'm messing with you.
Yeah,
I give
it's-
Joseph a hard time.
He does.
So Blue Ocean Strategy is all about finding an underserved market.
Yeah.
And so the best example that I find in that book is Southwest Airlines, and that is that airplane travel back. If you were traveling on planes in the 70s, which I wasn't. It was in 1981 that I got on my first plane. But at that time, it was all about dressing up. There were lounges. There was food. Ticket prices were expensive. It was a big dog and pony show.
This was
And
2000.
no, this is back in 1970s.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So when Southwest Airlines came to market, what did they say? You're not going to get food. You're going to get peanuts.
Yeah.
You're not going to get assigned seating. This is going to look like bus travel, right? You're gonna have lower cost tickets, and we're all going to start with small routes, small hops. And what did the larger airlines think? They were like, "What is this little stupid company? Like, what are they
Yeah.
doing?" Right? What they underestimated was that they were leaning in. They were underinvesting in one place, which is so important. You have to know what you're going to say no to, so you can say yes to something else. And Southwest Airlines leaned in on service, on making travel actually fun. And they leaned in on that, and they went low on tickets. They went low on expectations. They went low on everything else to drop the cost of the service. So what happens? All these people who never could get on a plane suddenly are traveling on a plane. It's the underserved market.
Yeah.
How many people back then who wanted to go fly to meet their girlfriend or their family member who could not do that, and now they have an option? Do you think they're going to be passionate about it? Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, heck yeah, this is actually an option. So that's finding an underserved market where you're filling a gap. It's like a vacuum that's just there. It's just like nothing is filling it.
So if you had to guess, would you, and this will be the last question. So for our guest, we have two startups in the room, which we're going to deep dive into their product and also how it fits into community building. But if you had to get a guess for that particular airline company, do you think they started off saying, this is the problem, I'm going to solve this problem, or they started off saying, they started off looking at the solution? I think one thing I appreciate the most about your advice is you distinguish, right? It was a few weeks ago you were telling you were talking to a group of founders, and you said, build your communities around the problems. Is one thing to have advice, build a community. It's great advice, but build a community specifically around the problems is different, right? It gives you a very focused point. So it is kind of in the same vein of trying to get a focal point is. Do you think this is Southwest Airlines? Right? So Southwest Airlines, do you think they started off saying, let me go find a group of users or community, build around a community who are having those problems, who just want to go quickly visit their girlfriend, be back in Las Vegas?
I wasn't there, but I can tell you that if they're mitigating risk, they would have validated all of this. And this is why what I see, and I did this myself. There's 3 lines of thought that you need to think about as a startup founder. Number 1, you need to understand the market. Number 2, you got to understand your product and offering to go solve that.
Yeah.
And number 3 is you got to know the fuel that's going to fund this.
Yeah.
The issue is that most people focus on the product, and they over-rotate on the product, and they go all the way out and architect this amazing thing.
Yeah.
And the level of immersing in the market, meaning if someone were to ask, hey, is so-and-so an expert on this problem space? Everyone's like, who's that? Because they've been in their closet working on the product rather than spending half of their time, which is what I would tell everyone to do, is spend 50% time building.
Yeah.
Spend 50% of the time being literally out there where you need to be, where you can interact with the people that would actually care about this problem.
Yeah.
And you know why I know this? Because that's not what I did.
Yeah.
And I burned through so much cash building the ultimate product. And then I was finally told by Blair from Mercury Fund to go, Joe, you need to get out of here. And you need to go find your customers. You need to go sit with them.
Yeah.
And I didn't fully appreciate that, but I took his advice. And I did it. And I was like, oh, my God, I built this freaking castle. And I've got to figure out what to do with this thing but people found value in something very specific, thankfully.
Yeah.
And I had the common sense to actually finally listen to that and follow that narrow thread, which then lifted us out, which then got us to the funding.
Did you have? So I love it because I'm a project manager. Oh, I have a PMP, and I've been in project. And as an IT, I have practiced often agile methodology. So that's a strong alignment with agile methodology.
Yeah,
You build
iteration.
with the customer in
Yep.
mind and
Yep.
iteration. Did you have that IT background? I know I said last question. Did
Mhm.
you have that IT background leading up to it?
By IT, you're saying information technology?
Yeah,
or-
because so agile
definitively.
project management. Yeah.
So I
it's
mean,
that-
iteration.
Yeah.
Actually, there's something that I would also recommend. So this is a core value at LionGuard. It was a core value. It was the only core value at my previous business. It's a simple thing called share visible progress.
Yeah.
Okay, to take it all in, because the key word there is visible.
Mhm.
As a founder, your job is to share visible progress.
Yeah.
And if you cannot share
MVP.
visibly progress, you're not holding yourself accountable to these outcomes. And that is part and parcel of following agile iterative processes, because the milestone outcomes
Yeah.
are visible.
Yeah.
And you know that ship it mentality that
Yeah.
they talk about?
Yeah.
That's visible progress.
Yeah.
Versus architect for 1 year, never release it publicly, never get market feedback. Yeah, that is the worst way to do it.
Yeah.
You have to get it out there. Don't be shy. Even when it is a PowerPoint
Yeah.
without a single line of code, you should be out there talking 50% of your time at least to the market.
So I was nervous a few weeks ago when I started with the AI. I saw like there was a time when people were leaning towards let's go back to waterfall methodology
Mhm.
instead of agile, because now we have this rapid release technology.
Mhm.
Waterfall helps. I was starting to get nervous because I was like, no, let's double
Mhm.
down on agile. That's
Mhm.
I think a process, and it also depends on what you're building too.
I
But
think the reason for that, the ability to build,
Yeah.
has gotten so accessible,
Yeah.
that everyone is a developer now.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone's vibe coding, and so when you know that the bar is so low to build, how are you differentiating? If you don't have market understanding,
Yeah.
and if you all have been at the Ion and you see those bleachers that are there, and you're standing at the bottom of those bleachers, I've told you this before, what is that audience that you can own within 5 minutes, and you can convince them, and they're telling you, oh my God, this person's one of us. And I see the founder over there. I was just telling this to her, at the Ion,
Yeah.
and it's such an important topic, because when you find that group and you target it that way, and you know the market so well that you know at least 3 acronyms in that industry, and if you don't know at least 3 acronyms in that industry that are specific to that industry, you do not understand that market. You're out of
Got
luck.
some work to do.
So no, you know your market well enough to know, like in your world, it's
Yeah.
ATS,
Yeah.
right? It's all these other things that people will say.
Yeah.
You have to have that,
Yeah.
and that's the only way people will trust you as a subject matter expert on the problem. Then I will open the door to listening to your solution.
It's
then only.
beautiful.
Then I'm like, you're just selling me something. I just snake oil.
Yeah. So we could talk all day because I had like a few more questions came to mind, but I
You
don't
have a
want-
lot of questions always. That's,
I'll open up. I'll work with Innovation Studio to open up an entirely new question and answer episode. But for now, So I want a quick shout out to our sponsor, Paint the Town Red. Two wonderful ladies who are advancing events here in Houston. They help out with cybersecurity events. They're up on the screen. So I just want to give them a quick shout out. And without further ado, I would like us to move on over to Megan with Purely. So Joe and Megan are gonna take over from now on, and we're gonna talk a little bit about not Purely, about Gardens to Platform.
awesome. Oh, yeah, we'll hand the mic. I think, Megan, you were going to tell us a little bit about what you're working on, right?
Yeah, but I also want to just talk about curiosity for a little bit.
Okay.
And because that's kind of how I came into the founding of Houston Bloom. About 3 years ago, I found myself enamored with ChatGPT.
Okay.
And the assistive
We've all found ourselves there.
technology, yeah. The assistive technology, I found myself ideating, and getting
Mhm.
stuck in that ideation phase. And what I realized is that you can't change the world by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started looking out and finding communities
Mm-hmm.
that were aligned to learn the vocabulary. And um, this problem I found along the way is what is now kind of my driving problem, which is it is very hard to take digital attention and turn it into real world action. And so I've worked with many communities trying to build groups, on Discord, using the infrastructure that exists. My last startup was around influencers who are building communities on multiple platforms. How do we support them? But I've always had the desire to say, how does that translate into local action? And so if the slides here that I'll be presenting is showing you after I have done kind of this initial research, what I came up with. And so
right.
my work today sits at the intersection of community and technology and decentralized technology specifically. And my goal here is really to empower the citizen as my target market, because right now the citizen doesn't have a lot of power to change their environment, to get their ideas out there. It takes a company, it takes you months. And so how can we compete and how can we leverage this new technology in a way that produces the environments for co-creation? Oops, wrong slide. That way. So in 2025, I was fed up. I was like, all right, I'm going to get offline. I'm going to start going into Houston. I've been working from remotely since 2020.
Okay.
And so I started looking around for what was out there, like what organizations already exist. I found, the Ion, I found Improving, I found all these different groups. And it was amazing. Houston has so much to offer. And then I kind of noticed this pattern of it was so difficult to continue that conversation and to actually build with people locally. I build a lot with people online, but there's this kind of struggle. I know, I try to connect with someone on LinkedIn, I can't message them. They want $5 and they haven't selected follow yet. And so there's just these barriers. And so Bloom is a chapter of a nonprofit that I'll kind of give you a little insight into here in a second. But after kind of exploring Houston, what I've landed on is that I want to create the conditions for us to co-create citizen infrastructure through peer-to-peer education and matchmaking events. And so what this looks like is that how can we actually create the technology that enables us to more quickly find our collaborators? And then how do we create spaces for them to collaborate together? Once we've figured that out, what comes from it is a whole new series of opportunities for people, for businesses. And so that's what I'm focusing on today. And now I want to, And so what does this produce? I mentioned decentralized technology earlier, and I mentioned, LinkedIn preventing you from, doing something because they're monetizing your data. All of our data is locked in these platforms right now. And so when you say you want to get your ideas out there, the effort to do that, I have to figure out the format, I have to figure out the channel, I have to hope that someone sees it, and there's just so much noise. And so what Three Horizons framework is really great. It's saying today, and then what is the future that you envision, and then the middle is what is required to achieve it. So citizen infrastructure is, here are some examples. So I have a few communities I'm building with. These are some of the tools that we've identified, or some workflows we've identified. And we're able to build infrastructure around it that do not rely on platforms. So resource sharing. Right now we have a Telegram channel that will take everyone's comments and automate a email of the summary to everyone. And all of this is just done with data and transfers of data that we're building ourselves. It doesn't require a platform, and so we can integrate new channels. We can do whatever we like with it because it's only being shared among trusted community members. Same thing with community scheduling. This is one of the hardest, the most difficult pain points that I experience daily. I meet tons of people And I'm like, when should we meet? Let me go sync my calendar. Oh wait, I just got a new calendar. And it's just this like constant struggle. Now, how do you do that with 15 people? And so we can create infrastructure that is so seamless with the technology that's available today. We just have to build it, and we just have to identify the needs of the communities to do it. Community brain, a shared context layer. Imagine that you and your community all have direct insight into the work that you're actively doing. I don't have to wait for you to send me a document. I say, hey, what are they working on? How does it relate to my work? What gaps do they see that I don't? This is what legibility gives us when it's not being obstructed by someone that is trying to monetize it. And instead, because what we're talking about is free flow of information, right? That's how we are able to find things. That's how we're able to connect. That's how we're able to move forward. And this last one here is personal interfaces. You know, we had platforms for so long that we don't really, it's hard to imagine them without them. But really what a platform is a watered down solution meant for everyone. You know what's better than a watered down solution? It's a solution made for you and your context. Today, it's extremely easy to make interfaces. And I want to show you one that I created. It's a video demo, and I'll talk through it. This is an interface, simple HTML, that's hooked up to my email, and it grabs every day all the emails from Joseph and the other collaborators in Founders Couch and maps it for me. I can access this offline, and look, I can go and open, and it's a navigation thing, but it also allows me to visualize it in a different way of my choosing. And so the ability to create this, anyone can do it. And so the technical moat, you know, it becomes, can you give someone the tools to make their vision come true? And so my business model is definitely not a SaaS model, because I'm more interested in like giving people the tools to build their own interfaces. And so I'm kind of going more of like a service-based model of education, because once you give people these tools, a whole new kind of ability to co-create, it becomes possible. So Bloom Network. Bloom Network is a regenerative community. They're online, but they have local chapters. And when I say regenerative, there's a term, it's called regenerative finance. Regeneration is the opposite of extraction. If you think about nature, things will die and come back. Things will constantly evolve. You know, we're not, if you know the Dust Bowl, that's an example of not paying attention to regenerative ecology, because we got rid of all the grass that kept the dirt down, and then all of a sudden we have the Dust Bowl. So regeneration is just understanding how you operate with your environment in a way that is productive for all living things. What they do, they have bioregional chapters, and they encourage and provide resources to those chapters to enable them to set up eco-franchises. And so these are businesses and solutions that are trying to solve the local context based on the interests of the local members. And so they've mobilized today $325,000. This isn't like donations. This is money that's now flowing through local communities, also donations, but yeah. And how they work is really interesting. They are a digital company, or digital nonprofit that is only providing resources to the local chapters. And those resources include tools. So like, I want to set up a community kitchen. Guess what? There's someone in that network that's done it. I want to exchange resources, you know, that becomes a new network. And general support. So I'm a independent researcher, and they're my fiscal sponsor for a grant that I just went through. And so these kind of relationships enable just the average citizen not to have to stand up a business, but just to go out and try to solve things within their environment. I mentioned regenerative finance. How this works is quarterly, their earnings, a portion of their earnings will be redistributed into the local chapters based on activity that they've done. And so they go to the platform and they'll have to write impact reports. People will have to vouch for what they said that are in that community, and then funds are distributed. And what this has created, what it enables is, or what they have found it to enable, is that people actually come together and build really, really awesome things. So this is from one of their chapters in Uganda. They were focusing on permaculture. So that's how do we sustainably grow food within the environment. And they were able, were just individuals coming together, and they ended up creating a social enterprise and are now a national curriculum and are working with farmers all across their country. And so it just shows, and they have tons of stories like this, where you give communities a little resources, a little support, and what needs to grow will grow. And then I'm going to give you a sneak peek at their platform, just so you can kind of see what the Ugandan program actually looks like. I'm working with them to try to make all of this data portable, because right now you do have to actively go to like make a post or make your activity logs. But what we're seeing is that communities aren't sitting at computers. They're in community. They're not technical. They're talking to indigenous community representatives. And so how can we capture that in a way that isn't extractive, isn't being used for anything other than coalition building, co-creation? And so now I want to talk about Houston Bloom. So after kind of, seeing what was the problems here, and then we'll start moving forward. But for matchmaking and events, I'm developing assisted technology. So imagine you go to a meetup, there's always a networking portion of it. Instead of you blindly like wandering through the room saying, hey, what do you do? What if there was something that maybe ranked for you? Maybe prioritize these 5 people. You go prioritize, you talk to them, you understand what they need, they understand what you need. And then you say, one sec, I know what you need. Let me go give it to you. With that same system, it's so easy now to exchange data. And so can we create in-person experiences where data gets exchanged that can accelerate us to co-creation? That grant I mentioned is trying to validates some of my decentralized technology ideas. One of them is authentication without a central authority. And so this idea that if we can tie actions, anonymized actions, and have data governance with communities, like a data commons, we can create the same type of systems we have today, but just differently. So instead of me giving you my ID that's attached to my email, what if I gave you all the timestamps that I had shared something with someone at a networking event? And I have my timestamps, but guess what? That community has the timestamps too. And so it becomes more of like proof of action that is anonymized. So these are kind of like the concepts I'm experimenting with. And the reason I'm doing this is because, like I said, platforms have to mine your data, which means they're standardizing the data in a way to extract for surveillance, because that's how they promote things to you. And so the opposite of that is preserving our local context and owning the infrastructure that helps us leverage our data. And we have community governance as opposed to algorithmic. Another thing here is that algorithms hold so many people's ideas, so many people's conversations. You have to insert an algorithm which is going to be doing the thinking for you. If you're limiting matchmaking to communities, that's the environments that we evolved in. 150 people or fewer. We can manage that data and it becomes an infrastructure that communities can actually leverage. And so that's kind of the scale at which I'm also suggesting this type of work should be done. The technology that Houston Bloom will be running on is community legibility spec, and this is the infrastructure that is leveraging really old technology. Like none of this is new, but how can we kind of configure it in a way that enables seamless transfer of information between citizens, and then prevent data extraction by limiting the amount of data that communities broadcast. So another one of my concepts is activity data and the design principles of a community should be the only things that are broadcast unless they have other things that the individuals have consented to. It's the same format that radio has been going on forever. But just this idea that we don't need to give all of our data away from platforms for the things that we need. We can keep it at home, work with it in our local context because we're the ones that should be solving the problems. Thank you.
It's awesome. So thank you for sharing all this. So it's interesting. Yes. It's really just kind of like meta or zoomed out that Joseph was talking about building communities, and you're building a technology to help build communities. So it's interesting, and it's something. Two things that came top of mind. I love to talk about this a lot, which is the concept of network effects and why the individuals in a community, when they connect and they're interconnecting at a hyper rate where there's less friction, you generally have catalytic type outcomes that are fast, right? Things synthesize quicker. You're talking about giving resources or data or something from one node in that network to another, and it just ends up being the unlock for somebody else, right? Personally, like I'm in two big communities in Houston, the cybersecurity community and the startup community. I'll pick one. The startup ecosystem is one that we've always struggled with in Houston, like just for a long time around, like it's been, every 10 years or so, we're going through an iteration or a different version of what that looks like. So, I mean, those are things that I'm thinking about when I think about communities, but tell me a little bit about like where you are in this journey. Like you shared with us what you're working on. So what stage are you at right now?
So I have everything ready to prototype. My husband's a cybersecurity engineer, so we've been focusing on building local hardware to support multi-user facilitation. So the idea is that like, what would the experience look like for us all in this room? But like y'all's context is accessible, and so like how can we facilitate that way? So the hardware, the AI is close to being done. We have the matchmaking interface and like a MVP technology set up. So it's really just kind of putting it together and testing out with people.
Okay.
The technology, like I said, isn't it is trying to find the minimum hardware required for this to work on.
Okay.
Because the idea that it needs to scale out as quickly as possible. So protocols, second generation tech that people can easily buy. We're currently trying to educate and get people to download local models on their own devices because compute and data is going to be what shapes the world. And so we have to start cultivating our own.
Okay. So as you've been building the tech, so we were talking earlier about putting yourself out into, talking to folks that are experiencing the challenges around connecting as a community in this case. What's been the level of exposure, and what have you been thinking about when you've been interacting with folks on what you're working on?
The exposure, I mean, I am trying to throw myself into the community,
Okay.
and kind of experience it that way. But I think that at the end of the day, it's around the organization of people. And everyone has like different competing ideas. And so I just think that like us as a society, we need to figure out how we can govern better. And right now we're handing that governance over to like platforms. And so I think that when I talk about this technology to people, they get excited because the people I'm talking to are already building decentralized tech. They're already in the impact space. And what I found working here in Houston, kind of working these rooms and telling people, they get excited too. Because this idea of free sharing and like what could be if we were able to work together is exciting. So that's kind of what I've experienced so far. I'm definitely looking for like people who are willing to apply it to their community.
Okay.
Because like that's how it will be shaped in the architecture of it is truly just that idea of that like individuals should be sharing directly.
Okay.
And then the data commons is how we can enable that to be accessible across. So instead of a top-down central platform, it's more of a mesh network with redundancy.
So tell me a little, like if you had an I wish moment right now in terms of a community, a tightly focused community that would engage with you on this, who would that be? Like, what's the community? What would you?
So the Impact Hub, they have a hackathon later this year, and I'm working right now with my collaborators. I work with this group called the Citizen Infrastructure Builders Club,
Okay.
and we're assembling a team to try and develop technologies for code conferences.
Okay.
And so this idea that like anyone that is bringing people together to solve problems,
Okay.
that's kind of like where I want to be, because we need to connect the people who want to solve the problems with the information they need. But
So
also
tell me
the
more about this
stakeholders.
community. Like, what are you thinking about there in terms of that?
The Innovation Hub?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like that would be a big stretch what we could get done to
Okay.
support them. I just met Tracy
Okay.
2 days ago.
Okay.
But the
And
idea-
then it's the code. You said code conferences. What? Like,
oh no, so I just mean like she's putting on a hackathon. So I just
Yeah.
think like a hackathon would be a great like grounds for this type of work. Design thinking groups, like just bringing these small groups together. But truly at networking events, eventually once the technology gets ironed out, I want it to be as seamless as I go to the Ion or I go to the Improving, and that 40 minutes of networking is just more effective. That's what it
Okay.
should feel like.
okay.
And then after that comes like
So I feel like there's there's existing things that we're using to address different things. Like we have our own calendars, we have LinkedIn, we have solutions like Luma or Eventbrite, and it sounds like you're connecting these various things together as services that are built into the platform itself.
well, so depending on your workflow, everyone operates differently. And so the idea is just to give people the education and tools to be able to operate their own workflows like they want, and then plug into their community as easily as possible. So right now that looks like connecting Blue Sky to our calendar tool that we've developed that will put it into a Telegram. But in the future, what that could look like is me just accessing my community's data commons that we all maintain and asking that same question. What's everyone doing on Wednesday?
Okay.
So it's just about the evolution of the solutions for the communities based on whatever infrastructure is currently available. And that's why the peer-to-peer education and service model is why I'm kind of doubling down on it.
Okay. I like the top of mind thing that comes to me is it sounds like you've actually made a lot of progress on the platform. Like there's a lot of like
Work done already?
there's a lot of work that's been done. Like if you were to switch on a gear now to spend 50-60% of your time just literally out in the world, basically connecting what you've been building, or maybe even go down to 20% of build and 80% out into testing what you've been building.
So it's
like where would you seek to be? Like
so
where would
if
you want to be?
we're probably 10% away from that active prototype, but once we get there, it would be like 90% like experiment prototype with people, and then make the adjustments for the next experiment. Like
I
the
want to
slow
challenge you to
integration.
that it's okay to be embarrassed with it.
What do you mean?
Like
right
with
now?
meaning
okay,
like it's okay for it to be 90%.
So the
Right.
the small experiment, so the that's the hardware for this for like here in Houston. We're doing the shared brain context through
Okay.
GitHub right now. So we're doing
Okay.
MVPs where like we're trying to
Okay.
prove that a community can do it
Yeah.
just using a GitHub, but that requires us to like upload to GitHub. So that's how I'm prototyping right now.
Because this is where it gets interesting, where the rubber meets the road, where you put the idea and the concept and explain the problem, and you're gonna have folks lean in, right? And you're gonna have others who are like, nah, right? And the job is really not to go and try to get the whole world excited day one, but there's gonna be a community that ultimately leans in more than the rest. And I'm really curious as to those signals. Like, what are those signals? This is what I talk to most founders about with regards to understanding what those signals are, which is, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Or, if this were to be the case, then this would change things. So from my perspective, I see a lot of connectivity to this and the startup ecosystem challenge in Houston, where you went to places like Improving, the Ion, and others, where there's a lot of focus on innovation, startups, and kind of curious as to has the startup community reached out to you around like, hey, this looks interesting. Is this something that we would want to try to connect the dots between all of the Cup of Joey's all the way to Startup Circle to what Improving's doing? To
No,
everything
not yet. I launched my Substack like 2 days ago.
Mhm.
This event's kind of like forced me to become more
Mhm.
public. So like it's all kind of up and coming, and I
Okay.
definitely will look for those opportunities.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very early days. Even though,
Okay.
so I've been only working on this for about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is good. Like, so I think like for the audience that's participating as well, we talked about this earlier, is that when you're hearing Megan talk through the problem, pitch her platform or solution, what she's solving, you probably have a connection, like, or somebody, or you yourself might be the person to be helpful. And those are things that are huge. And I guess Roselia has raised her hand, so she's already volunteered. Okay. And I think there's somebody I would want to connect you with is Natera at Houston Exponential. We were literally talking about the problem you're exploring in a thread back and forth yesterday. And we continue to work on this thing in terms of, and that's specifically to the startup ecosystem. So it seems very overlapped. And it's like interesting, like, to find who are the people who are passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
And then just get out there and make sure and ask for, like, what's your ask is the thing that I would
Actually,
dig into.
we have a slide. Would you?
Okay, you have an ask slide?
I do. I missed
Oh,
it.
well, look at that. Very
Sorry.
prepared. Okay. That was not planned, folks.
I thought we were over
Okay, this is
after
good.
the infrastructure.
Okay.
Uh,
So what are we
sorry.
at? We have 3
So-
more minutes. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So
Okay.
my ask is I have a Discord community. So if you're interested in getting involved through
Okay.
development or through active volunteering or through coming to
Okay.
trainings, this is like the most active you can be with the Commons. So this is the co-creation Commons. It's not Houston Bloom.
Okay.
If you're interested in becoming a Houston Bloom member specifically and working on this decentralized technology more in like a formalized climate change like branding way, you can definitely email me. Like, you see a spot on my team, like let's get like connected right away. But and then the calendar, so Citizens Infrastructure Building Club, we're combining calendars from other groups doing this kind of decentralized tech. So it'll have a lot of other opportunities to get more information about these groups who are working in this space, and see more of the events that I'll be posting.
So if I'm thinking about who would be, good connections for you in terms of the community building for what you're working on, what would they be passionate about? Like, how would you describe them?
Social impact, social justice.
Okay. So that's why you're working with Impact Hub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it comes down to the end of the day that like we need to drastically build a different system. So when you move your data off of your onto your own device,
Mm-hmm.
and you stop treating it like a commodity to be sold and more like a commons,
Mm-hmm.
and you design workflows for you and your community,
Okay.
you stop becoming the product of a system and you start becoming a builder of a new one.
Okay. I like that phrase. It's awesome. This is awesome. So I think this is interesting and so meta with regards to, like, okay, building a community platform, and then also at the same time building a community around it. And I think that there are actually people that I don't definitely speak to that are passionate about this topic. Usually it's down a path, right? It's economic building for Houston, or innovation, startups, cybersecurity, like these kind of narrow alleys that we try to get together, folks. And then we're like, man, I wish there was a better way to get connected. And LinkedIn is kind of there, but then there's these missing things that are there. So
I'd love
I'm
to
excited.
talk. Yeah.
I'm excited. Awesome.
Yay.
So this is all. Anything final words? Anything that you'd like to close
No,
with?
I just want to thank the Innovation Studio and you and everyone who showed up, because these are the spaces that we are building for communities. So
Thank you, Megan. Everyone, round of applause. That's awesome.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This is cool. Let me get one of the mic.
So this section of we're gonna move the founder's couch to the actual couch. this section we're gonna use to talk about Purely. Purely is actually a Christian Bible-based app. We here in the Innovation Studio welcome all religion. Today we're gonna talk about Purely, which is a Christian-based app. And this gentleman over here, Gavin, is gonna talk about Purely.
What's
Same
up, Gavin?
concept, same context. Gavin.
Thank y'all for having me here.
Awesome. It's awesome to have you, man. You look comfortable on the couch.
Oh yeah, comfortable amongst the people. Yeah, you know, it's all good.
So
yeah.
share with us what's going on. What's going on in your world?
All right, pretty much. The app is actually in store, well, in both Apple and Google stores. So it's already out and released. It's been released for a while. The goal behind the app was honestly to be able to safely say your truth and be able to get an honest answer based on the Bible. And that was my goal, because I've seen a lot of people go to AI such as ChatGPT to vent, which is, I mean, I'm not knocking people who do it,
Mhm.
but as they got in trouble for somebody committing suicide or suggesting somebody commit suicide, that's not the best way to go. That's just my humble opinion.
Mhm.
So I went out and created just something for one. I exercise my own profession,
Mhm.
which is I'm in cybersecurity, so mainly governance, risk, and compliance. But I've been in all the aspects of it, not to get technical and nerdy. So, but I just honed it in and controlled what data went where, and how AI is actually used, and that's the thing that kind of sets it apart. Besides the other thing that I wanted to do is to keep it private.
Mhm.
Like, in other words, I don't want your information. I'm not selling it.
Mhm.
Your information stays with you. I don't send you no annoying emails, no notifications, no nothing.
Mhm.
I will tell you, the headache I had putting out the app, it was not with Apple. iPhone users rejoice. Y'all hold your iPhones in the air, because Apple is good with privacy. Google, on the other hand,
So you've been going through a discovery process on privacy.
oh look, with Google, to put it out,
Mm.
I had to use X, and I gained followers on on my TikTok for
Mhm.
the because of that.
Mhm.
What I did is I made a screenshot on X of why Google rejected my app, which is basically a permission they wanted me to keep so they can see what was going on.
Mhm.
I put it on there, and they got about, I think it was like 500,000 hits in like about 3 hours.
Interesting. Okay.
So, needless to say, my rejection went from a rejection to acceptance. I don't know if somebody at Google.
You should pay attention to that signal. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I've talked to Joseph about Salesforce when they came to market. I don't know if you all know at the very beginning what their marketing campaign was. It had the word software, and it was a
Right.
big
Yeah, I
red
remember
circle and a slash through it.
Mhm.
And so it's like, well, they're a CRM company. They're
Right.
software. Like, why was that their thing?
Right.
There's some really unrelated things. In your
Mhm.
case, privacy seems
Mhm.
like an interesting topic to maybe zone in on. But going back to what, like how Megan shared was, go back, rewind a bit to when you were thinking about actually doing this, because I always jokingly say it takes a little crazy to throw paint on a canvas that's empty, and it takes a lot of effort and time. So go back to that moment. Share with us
Oh,
like
buddy, I can
what
tell
were you
you,
thinking?
it was the day after Thanksgiving. I had the Bible app like everybody else has on their phone,
Mm-hmm.
and I got tired of those annoying alerts. You know, they have your goal to where you got to read each day, and I missed a day.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't need this alert. And the
Okay.
thing is, my mind is like, hey, okay, number one, they tracking my phone and seeing what I'm doing,
Okay.
which, I mean, honestly, I semi have a problem with it,
Mhm.
because I'm like, hey, I read on my free will, and I also read the paper book. I read the physical text.
Mhm.
So yeah, being on the phone is just a luxury. So,
Mhm.
and my thing is, I feel like an app such as like the Bible app shouldn't be tracking your progress. If anything, it should allow you to have free will. So,
It's interesting. There's that privacy concept again.
yeah, it's
Kind of showed up again.
oh yeah, that's the theme of it because the theme of it is like even with your like not to get too nerdy, but with your well and purely anyway with your progress is all with you. It's all in you own your data. That's it. The goal was to make sure everything is done in private and confidence, and so you can go back and you can reflect. You can share it if you want to, but that's on your own will, and
Mhm.
you share with your therapist, share with your friends, family, or whatnot, but it shouldn't be shared with anybody else unless you're willing to share it.
So it's the startup journey is really interesting and it's
Mhm.
super windy
Mhm.
because the you think you started it for a reason,
Mhm.
but there might be something deeper in that why, and
Mhm.
it's really great for anyone who's starting up a business to actually have somebody else,
Mhm.
preferably someone who has teaching background or a
Mhm.
teacher. I tend to think that they're the best at
Mhm.
really asking the deeper questions to the point
Mhm.
that you get frustrated and you get annoyed
Oh yeah.
because it has to get that deep. Like, why do I have to explain this? Like,
Oh.
here's what was going on, and when you get
Mhm.
all the way to the bottom of the why
Mhm.
behind that,
Mhm.
that is an interesting pearl of wisdom that then you're without realizing it.
Mhm.
That's the why behind your business,
Mhm.
and you're actually doing it without. It's an autopilot,
Oh yeah.
and it could also be the very thing that you build the passionate community around,
Mhm.
which is, it could be privacy around your faith. It could
Yeah.
be any kind of related topic, but it'd be
Yeah.
great to explore that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like it's kind of like it's just kind of like a pandemic out there right now. I take people knocking over the flock cameras, for example.
Hmm.
It, to me, hey, it's whatever they want to do with those cameras. But at the same time, I feel like with those, I mean, with whatever information they use it for, or whatever people use it for,
Hmm.
it is what it is. I don't want to get anybody in trouble by mentioning too much,
Hmm.
but I do say the efforts people are going to knock those cameras down should tell us where society is right now with
Hmm.
with our personal information and how we feel, and even just simple things. Um, so I'm trying not to step on any toes when I say it, but
All of this is being broadcasted.
I
No,
know, I know, right?
so like this does connect with
Yeah.
the Ikigai concept we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier,
Mhm.
because I was thinking about
Yeah.
what are you good at, and your background's cybersecurity,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
then when you think about what do you love and
Yeah.
what does the world need,
Yeah.
and then you start to connect it to what can you be paid for. It's interesting. It can be things from such very different backgrounds,
Right.
but when you merge them together, there's some kind of a narrow path.
Right.
And it's like sometimes we'll take those
Mhm.
choices without realizing it, but we don't realize what those circles really are.
Exactly.
And your buyers or your participants or the
Mhm.
folks that sign up to download your app,
Mhm.
they can probably sense it, and emotionally they're connecting at that level.
Mhm.
And if you don't know what that is,
Mhm.
you're lost in the woods. Like, you have to really know what it is.
Mhm.
It's just something. It's a state of discovery. I've been
Yeah.
through a journey with
Oh,
Lion
yeah.
Guard where we thought we were doing something and it turned out to be something completely different, but it was more
Yeah.
fundamental.
Mhm.
And it's usually something more fundamental that you end up
Yeah.
getting to.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's just something simple people use,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, is all the private stuff is in the background. The users
Mm-hmm.
don't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's me that thinks about it. So it's just me enabling freedom is like the main thing.
So what comes next then with what you're doing?
What comes next?
Mhm.
I have something in my mind for a follow up with this. Like I want to see more engagement with the app and see
Okay.
where I can improve upon it because I know some improvements I want to make, especially with the language barrier. That's something I'm working on getting in Spanish.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to work with the language, and then also I have an idea of how I want to overhaul the overall look, but right now I want to get more interaction with it first.
So how so this is the traction challenge, right? We
Yeah.
cover this a lot, right? So how do you think about driving more interaction? What's going to make that happen? What do you
Interaction.
think?
First of all, I need to stop being lazy. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
I'm sitting on the couch.
hey, no, I'm doing so much. Like, I'm be honest.
There's
I'm
Oleg
doing-
sitting on the couch
I'm
too.
doing so much, and I'm not a marketing guy. This lady beside me, she's in
Okay.
marketing. So
Okay.
I have some thoughts as you were talking. I was just like, he could attend some regional conferences.
Okay.
Vend at them because there are a lot of denominations that have regular gatherings,
Okay.
and this is aligned with that. How to practice your faith. When you're not worshiping corporately in a church.
Mhm.
So that's one. And then also there's a lot of faith-based bloggers that you could incentivize to drop a link to that.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Question.
yes.
Improvements that you're going to make interface and experience related? Sorry. Or are the improvements you're making interface and experience related, or are they more technology related?
No. It's gonna be more of a more user and interface related.
I have a suggestion. Just because the generative UI, instead of guessing what people might want, since you're so interested in the local or private seat data, I would love to do discovery with you, which is, can you give someone that data and have them build their own interface? Because then you start to see how are people maybe wanting to engage with it differently. And I'm not sure, I haven't seen your app yet, so maybe that's not a good example, but moving away from chat interfaces is really what we're talking about. And if you want to make an improvement, people not everyone likes chat interfaces, and so what they could be.
We're all about chat now.
Yeah.
Don't take away chat from
I
me.
hate chat.
But what's the alternative?
You know, you know what?
Whatever's-
You know what? I got a demo. Y'all want to back there? Y'all want to roll the demo just to see how it looks like that way?
Oh,
Get an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Tasha, she's a user of it. She actually made the demo for me.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Get a user to do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, you good. All right, she's just typing whatever she wanted to type. There's 3 different versions right now, and that's part of the improvement. I'm actually kind of working with them to try to get more versions of the Bible.
Mhm.
And licensing fees are a whole lot, so I'm not gonna charge.
Licensing.
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
I didn't know that was a
yes,
thing.
copyright. Yes, there's a copyright on versions of the Bible. I kid you not. No, it's not free, buddy. No, it's not free. The
Really?
King.
I don't even think about
Yeah.
What's the most expensive version of King James?
Oh, King James to get that? Oh man, yeah, you getting it. So, all right. So these right here, you get your scriptures, of course, and then you get a reflection, which it generates a reflection based on it, and includes verses to go to or whatnot, and then it gives you a prayer,
Oh,
and
look at
then
that.
it gives
Okay.
you a next step or something like that. And then the saving part is where you save it to your phone, and it saves on your phone. It doesn't save to any cloud. No, I made sure no cloud storage, no nothing. So
Man, I like
so-
the simplicity of this whole.
yeah, it's the thing.
I mean, there's
was-
no user manual required there.
No.
Right?
I had a lady who was I think she's I'm gonna call it 46. Just add about 30 years to it. But but I had her to make sure she kind of approved it, because I didn't want anybody to have to learn how to use it. I just wanted them to be able to just go in it and use it, no learning curve.
So usability and privacy are two big
right? It's too
focuses.
yeah, too
I mean, you
big,
kept the surface area really
clean,
simple, clean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
to the point. So
Question.
yeah.
I think Joe has been talking a lot about user privacy,
Mhm.
but in your positioning, I'm curious. There was, and you've talked a lot about it.
Mhm.
There's no mention of privacy there at all, right? So is
Right.
that intentional?
Yeah, it's intentional because you just want the user to be able to just go in, because when most people pick up their phone, they're not thinking about privacy. They put their information on the Facebook all day and not knowing that, hey, Facebook is selling their information. Like, the user doesn't think about that. That's just me that thinks about that. Like, I know what they're doing. Like, hey, your stuff is going to New Mexico to Facebook's data warehouse or whatever and being sold for millions or billions now. So it's
Deji, are
just
you
So
suggesting that that's a
potential wedge then, right? Like
Mhm.
that's like
Mhm.
a differentiator that
Mhm.
can help you build
Mhm.
essentially a community we were talking
Mhm.
about earlier.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like there are people who, what I say with my therapist is HIPAA, is private or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're now using your platform to say this is also private.
Mhm.
Like no, it's not stored anywhere and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
It's a clear positioning that can essentially then it's a my marketing brain starts to switch on where this is your point of differentiation relative to any other app that might pop out there, and you can tell that story clearly in a way nobody else can, and help you drive traction.
that's I mean a strategy canvas exercise, like
Mhm.
using, like if you look up the Southwest Airlines
Mhm.
strategy canvas, it'll become really obvious to you what you could do. But
Mhm.
privacy, usability, something about faith. I don't know. Like there'd be a couple things that come top of mind to go,
Mhm.
this is interesting. But then what do people do right now to do something similar? Do they pick up the Bible? And is this better in some way than picking up the Bible? Is this better than another app that does this? That differentiation is kind of interesting to
Yes.
really explore. It
Yeah.
kind of identifies what
Yeah.
you're solving for.
Exactly, and I try to do a comparison. There's not really a comparison to say, because there is like I said, they had the Bible app that,
Mhm.
of course, they pay for all the versions, but at the same time, they get their money from selling the information back. So yeah, that's a long story, which I found out too. But there's not really something that just, hey, you speak this and then you go into this. But
I feel like you're walking the line between
yeah,
Google search and ChatGPT
yeah,
with the UI, and but then without all the privacy concerns of
right,
Google and
yeah,
and Gen AI.
yeah, because in in my mind, I call it like the ultimate search and cope engine. That's what I call it in my
Wait, the
head.
ultimate what?
Cope and search engine,
Okay.
because
Okay.
because you can, there's a few things you can talk to, and and even people. There's few things you can even relate to and talk to, and you won't get any judgment per se, or your information won't get leaked out to somebody. Like, I'm not saying share your secrets with your phone or whatever, but that's the closest thing you can do to sharing your secrets. So
So this is one of the things I learned the hard way was I kept looking out at the market, but then in the early days, you're going to end up having, like, let's say the first 5, the first 10 users,
Right.
the first 50, the first 100.
Right.
And when you start to zone in on the user base or your customers, even established businesses, we as an established business, I see so many businesses, they don't look into their customer base.
Yeah.
They keep looking out.
yeah,
And the reason you want to do that is you're finding the patterns of behaviors
Right.
or the demographics and other factors that define who is it that's actually very animated and interested about what you're offering. Like
Right.
they're real passionate, and sometimes they don't self-identify themselves, but the signals are there in your app or in whatever you're delivering. And when you can capture that, the job is actually not to try to make every user happy.
Right.
It's actually to go find the group that loved it the most in the early days, and then you replicate them and you find the lookalikes of them. You don't actually try to service every single one, because you're going to get a lot of folks that come in and then they're going to log out and they're like, this is no
Not
good,
for me,
Gavin.
yeah.
And you might get suckered into trying to convince them.
Yeah.
I would focus more on the ones that are engaging
Mm-hmm.
and actually start to go, okay, why are you engaging?
Right.
Right? And it might feel egotistical to ask those questions, but it's not. You're trying to explore the why. And then all you're trying to do is replicate. And that's where just getting the word out into the right community, which would change which event you might go to or which community you might reach out to, because it could be that it's generally 50 to 70-year-old X, Y, and Z, something, whatever, and in this specific faith,
Right.
for whatever reason. You don't know,
Yeah.
and you're in the state of discovery to go, wait, I built this thing, but man, it didn't turn out exactly like I thought, but it's working.
Yeah.
So who's actually pulling on you?
Right.
That signal is so important.
I totally agree.
So you have those early users right now? As Joe mentioned, do you have those early users right now who are giving you information on why they're using the app? Do you have insights where?
I don't collect information. I don't know why, because I'm not collecting any information from them. Like, I don't even, like, I anonymize even the collection. Like, I don't even look at how many subscribers I have. Like,
So you just jumped into building? Is that correct?
No,
It-
I built it, and then when I was satisfied with after the testing, I was like, okay. Then I released betas for. I put out release betas for testing, and then when the final one I was happy with, after the tweaks, I was like, okay, I'm done.
Do you know them by name or by email address at least
No.
so you can contact them?
No, I'm not collecting that. That's
You know one user who's
that
this?
that's
Your friend.
oh
who's that was driving
oh you
on the app?
oh talking about Tosh? Yeah, I know the Tosh.
What about LLM? Is it LLM that processes the request, right? Is it local LLM?
Yeah, it's localized LLM. What I did was it calls out to the LLM, but it does not like not store on the phone.
Trains and-
Yeah, it does not train at all. I had to make sure of that, so because I don't want no ties, no nothing. So I had to make sure that, and it took about 6 months to get that right. So
I just want to tell you, I truly admire your design principles, and I just wanted to say that. Actually, I lost it, but I really appreciate the design principles. For the community building, opt in. So consent based, like I would encourage you to get that feedback, but let them opt in. Like I love what you're doing,
okay.
but the consent, like you're not opting them in, you're letting them consented to be opt in. So add a feedback button, like say what do you want to see here, and that's an ethical way to do it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was going down the same path
Yeah.
as some kind of engagement that they can self-identify and say, "I love what's going on here, and would you like to give feedback as to not just what you would improve, but what do you love?" Because the issue is that sometimes we don't ask folks, "What do you like about this?" and we screw that up,
Right.
and we don't assume that this was actually the killer capability, or there's something unique about what you're offering to the market, and we lose sight of that because all we're doing is we're just keeping adding more bells and whistles, and it just becomes this massive surface area, and it becomes this house of cards.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that because you went sleek, right? Clearly with the UI, and it's clean. So you really want to focus on what do they love, right? And just replicate that and do that more if you can
Right.
in the early days.
I think that's part of what I need to do for marketing, especially because I have myself. I don't particularly brand myself on the camera because
You're on the camera now, right?
Well,
You're
thank
center
you,
stage.
Joseph. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm not big on marketing myself, which I need to. I need to put a brand behind it, so more awareness. So that it's on me to do that. So yeah, I put the responsibility on me to do that. So
And the brand is
yeah. And the
Pure-
Pure Lee,
Okay.
that's the brand. Y'all can put the logo on the screen,
there it is. It's-
please.
Say you're not marketing. That's
Yeah.
No, I did.
Yeah.
See the okay. See,
okay.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
You clearly haven't marketed a strategic marketing mindset.
Hey, they put the logo on the screen. I ain't got the clicker.
And I just want to say
Oh.
thank you to Innovation Studio because
Yeah.
they're helping founders become more visible, and that's really why we like this space. So we'll have this QR code up again if you want to get involved, if you want to present here, if you want to be a part of this, like come build it with us. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's important actually to
so-
get this airtime.
Something
Is
put
so
my logo on the
important.
screen.
I'd encourage y'all, if whether it's at an event like this, even gathering a couple of your friends or family, you know, when you're working on something, put yourself up in front of them and actually share. Even the one-on-one sharing of what you're working on, you have to have. You know, one of my advisors, JR, talks about this. You got to get the reps, right? Get the signals and you'll see it when someone's confused and they're like, I don't even know what this guy said. You know that you need to work on communicating at a 7th grader level, right? And so you're going to get better at that. And when you start to get the lean in and you see the sparkle in their eye when you're saying something, you need to rewind what you just said because you got to replicate that. And you don't want to miss that. So whenever that happens, you start to actually become very boring and you have to repeat yourself. My wife hates it that I keep saying that I lost my hair in my previous business. And she says, Joe, how many times are you going to keep saying this?
Right.
And I'm like, that's my shtick. That's just what I do,
Hey.
right? And it's just a thing. And I've said that for like literally 10 years, right? So it can feel a little redundant, but you have to keep repeating and beating the drum.
That's so true. Like I said, I have no excuse though. I don't have an excuse. Like I would say, even my personal, like I say, my personal social media, Facebook in particular, it's full. Like I'm right at 5,000. So it's about full. So I need to do better as far as like branding myself. Period. Like
We're all on a journey.
yeah, well, I'm on the journey, but I need
You're
to
here
I
right
need
now.
to do better though. I need to do better.
That
Yeah.
understanding that there's
Yeah.
always like there's one step ahead to take is that's it. It's a journey, right? And
Yeah.
and if you've got that mentality, that's the curiosity thing to go. Okay, I want to learn to actually get better.
Yeah.
The thing that's just kryptonite for me are the founders that have the big
Appreciate
heads and
it.
the big egos, right? It's like, you know, you're Monday morning, you're back in kindergarten, right? You're starting over again and you're learning. And until you, and when that stops, then you're done. Like
Yeah.
you're just no longer innovating.
Yeah.
So it's without a doubt.
That's right.
Anyone have like feedback or thoughts?
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
Oh yeah.
We
yeah.
have about 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Oh, let's say
You want to show your logo?
Oh,
no, the logo, no, not the logo, the QR code to download it.
All right.
Yeah, I did that piece.
oh, there's,
Yeah,
there's
see,
the logo.
and then I
There's
did
the
that piece.
logo.
Yeah, scan it for you. Oh yeah, here you go, man.
At first, I thought it's purely with LY. It's LEE. Okay.
Oh yeah, because we talked about it. Oh yeah, y'all weren't here. Talked about copyright and all that stuff, right? Yeah, the word the regular purely is copy,
It's
so
already copied.
it's a flip, and I had to improvise that real fast. So I didn't want to infringe on anybody's rights. So
Your thing says on private reflection and guidance. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, the tagline, yeah, it says that. Private reflection and guidance.
Yeah.
But as it doesn't
Next-
say, it's simple
next
and easy to
hour.
use, though. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Hey, don't give everything away, man. Like,
So-
it's content, man.
So, thank you, Gavin. I don't want to keep everybody in couch too long because I know there have been some exciting questions waiting, especially Megan to some of the speakers ask about questions we have. So if you don't mind, what I want to do first is go around the couch. So the people sitting on the couch are the participants. The guests are sitting in the back. If you are a guest and you want to speak, you can speak up. But what we're going to start off first is each person on the couch kind of introduce themselves, talk about their startup and where they are in their journey in terms of building a community.
I'm Deji. I'm an ex-CMO of a direct-to-consumer company that was venture-backed, and I'm building in the influencer marketing space. The name of the company is Oya. What we are trying to do is help businesses run more creators, not more busy work, because the running an influencer marketing program is very operationally intensive, and a lot of companies are just doing patchwork to get from point A to point B. And this was born out of a passion it was a bane of my existence at my previous job, chasing down influencers, where are the assets, figuring out how to paying them on PayPal, Venmo, Apple Pay, and all of that stuff. So yeah.
Thank you, Deji. My name is Joseph Bankole. I'm the founder of Next Shift IQ. It's a career intelligence platform looking to let's change the mold on how we go about recruiting. I've gone through the market validation phase. Now I'm trying to pull it out of the valley of death by engaging my community. I have 4 different communities built around the solving the problem, and now it's taking that community and converting it into capital gain.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shiva Swaminathan. I'm in the EdTech space, building a product for the Australian K-12. So you might wonder, why am I sitting here if it's Australian K-12? So my founder is in Australia, and his daughter had this problem of getting hyper-personalized learning for exam preparation in K-12. So we validated the problem pretty thoroughly and worked with students out there, like started with 50 students to begin with, and then built a community of around 500 students. So we have 2 products, both AI-driven products, one for an exam called the VCE and the other called the VSE. And we just launched the VSE product. It had good traction, around 250 plus users. And we're now moving on to a B2B model, working with the schools to adopt our platform for higher scale.
Hi all, Oleg Lisak. So I wear many different hats. So I'll start with since we talked about community. So the first one is Rocket Network. So founder of Rocket Network. What we do is we try to connect the dots, and I think there's some synergy between what Bloom Network does. So we should definitely chat more about that. But we're trying to connect the dots of the innovation ecosystem in Houston and let know folks what's going on every single week. Every Sunday, I send out a newsletter with all the meetups related to, startup founder meetups like this, right? Developer meetups, all related to investing, building, things of that nature. So my essentially subscribers are founders, developers, investors, those kind of folks. And I'm also co-founder of Beezy AI. So Beezy is an orchestration hub for software development. So how do you build in a way that's measurable, managed, and I like to say with less prompting and praying, but not that's I didn't plan this. Less prompting and praying. So right now we're in a little bit of a pivot. We're trying to do more. We're leaning in. Yeah. Actually, I think that Anthropic and OpenAI, they are running like a drug dealer model where we get hooked on the tokens, and somebody have to measure like how is your team is spending the tokens. So we build out an analytics that help you track that, how your team is using it, and so you can optimize it so you don't have to be dependent. But I'll just stop there for now.
Less prompt and more
There it is. Hey, new motto. I'm Gavin Nasamota. I am founder of Gavin Consulting Services, and I actually created the app Purely. That's under the umbrella of Gavin Consulting. As we all heard, it's an app that's actually pretty private, as we can say. I also want to give a shout out to this 77 Stash. Like, yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah, pretty good. Joe got his his gone.
I like it.
And then I think there was like 8 more bottles, but we only got 3 left. Yeah, y'all guzzling it up, man. So, but yeah, just thank you for the opportunity, and I just appreciate everybody. Say hey to everybody in the audience too. Yes. Yeah.
My name is Tammy De La Fuente, and I am the founder of Second Chance Parenting Solutions. We are a consultancy that helps young adults and their parents age 18 to 34 to address failure to thrive. You may not know this, but the National Center for Education Statistics has done research, and 1 in 4 adults in that age group is either not being educated, not in the workforce, or not in some sort of vocational training. So this is a huge, massive subset of the community that is just stalled, where, you know, we're just in our rooms gaming, or we don't have a life plan. And so I have 3 tiers: a digital toolkit, a guided cohort, and also a one-on-one professional consulting that I'm hoping to launch. And that's what I want to do. I come to entrepreneurship involuntarily, although I have consulted quite a bit in my career as a digital marketer, but just a 1099 or a contractor on W-2. This is the first time where I'm actually putting more effort into entrepreneurship than I would finding a regular job. And so I think I'm proud of that.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. Oh. I want to just say how like valuable that is. I've been unemployed for 3 months, and that's where I've been given the space to do this. And it's just something that is very special. And just imagine if we can all do the things all the time that we see that we can do. Yeah. So Houston Bloom isn't a legal entity. I'm a member of Bloom Network, but I'm just an individual. And I intend to keep it that way, because what I hope is that any individual can move through the system and make the change. I don't want to have to be a company to do so. Oh,
I just wanted to just say a thank you, because I already introduced myself, just to Innovation Studio and Joseph as well, and everyone involved with organizing this, because this kind of interaction and sharing is a big part of creating that network effect, right? It's actually to connect and figure out how we help each other in terms of getting to that next step. So this is awesome.
Sorry. So I want to introduce us to the gentleman who brought us this drink. I want him to have to speak a little bit. He's sitting in the back seat.
Thank you.
He's trying to run away. He thought it was clever.
I wasn't trying to. Was this on? Wasn't trying to get in front of the camera today, but hey everybody, I'm Shaka. I'm one of the sales reps for 77 Stash. It's a locally made, locally grown drink. It has been in operation for about like 5 years, I believe now. One of my best friends is the owner, and we have actually had a nice bit of success over the last 3 months with working with through one of our sales channels at TSU. So come this football season, you'll actually be able to purchase a TSU branded flavor of 77 Stash at the games and at the various outlets that we sell at, including Radio Market.
That's awesome.
And I'm reading on some of the congestion, sinus relief, all that stuff. It really does help. What?
Yeah. So all of those. So all of those are. I'm not gonna say all of the ingredients, but majority of the ingredients that we can grow here in Houston, we grow here in Houston. And the important thing about that is because it's not grown in the typical fashions of regular produce, we have a better nutrition and quality. We pay attention a lot more to the quality and how we actually treat the soil and going into the products.
Awesome. Without further, yes.
I'm saying, can I have one of those?
Not this. This is our
He's holding on to it now.
Yeah, this I have.
Oh man,
We are
there
not.
should be some other ones.
Unfortunately, so I do.
This Red Dragon Chai is a fine flavor.
I was told if I got rid of this, I'll have to take your soul.
Wow.
Let's chat after. I'll get you a copy. I'll figure out. But we had some people have some questions for Megan, and I think we had some questions for Gavin too. I want to start off with our questions.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the mic first
No
up.
worries.
So you talked about local models and having hardware, right? So I wasn't sure, is it an edge hardware or cloud hardware?
Edge.
Edge.
Yeah.
And where is it going to be situated? Like in the Impact Hub?
Oh, so right now it's situated in my house, but the idea is that in spaces where people meet, it should be able to be installed. Access to it right now, I believe, I don't know. It's still in the works because obviously we can't move my large system, but the idea is we're targeting maybe co-working spaces as a hub or maker spaces as good locations. Again, the minimum hardware required and the workflows needed to support. I don't think frontier models are going to be required for just matchmaking and resource gathering, but when we have communities needing to build, obviously if we're not using frontier models, we're not going to be as effective as we could be. And so the progression right now, I think we can do the work on smaller machines. Apple's like leading the way. They're ensuring that their laptops will be able to handle local AI. And so eventually everyone's going to have an iPhone that can, like it's a progression towards it. And the models are just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, so my background is in hardware, so I get excited by this.
I remember
work
you
at
said Edge, and I was
HPE in
like,
the edge
hey,
compute
yeah.
domain. So how do you transfer the data from the laptops of the users who are sitting all
Yeah.
over Houston and to this edge device, right?
So we are looking at XIM, KiwiXIM, as a mechanism. So KiwiXIM is what rural schools use to access the internet. And so it becomes a thing where you're in a room with your community, they can send you the file. See, all these things can be figured out, like exactly the easiest way to send it. But the idea is that it doesn't need to go to a cloud to do it, and it gets stored on the community's hardware. And the thing about KiwiXIM is that like the internet it's a compression mechanism that can fit on a thumb drive. But yeah,
Thank you.
that's what we figured out so far, at least.
How do you spell that?
KIWI and then ZIM, KiwiXIM.
Okay.
ZIM.
KIWIZIM, yeah.
From a security standpoint, how do you ensure security?
So the people, the members are consenting to have the community hold that data. And so I get to say, do I want my name attached to it? Do I want them to send it out of the community? And so these are data governance protocols that need to be built within those communities. But the idea is that it's consent based. And me sending my stuff to you, we're creating the spaces for individuals to have peer-to-peer sharing, and the commons sharing up is optional. But it needs to be there because guess what? Now you don't have to come to every meetup. But as long as people are there, they can see your resource and know that you're a connection.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice. Learned something new today.
All right. I guess I'm along the lines of the security to it, but I'm gonna ask the hard question. All right. Are you considering going to like a cloud-based model? And if you are going to a cloud-based model eventually, which I assume yes, which 99% of people are, what are the security protocols around it, especially for example, with I tell everybody with Amazon or AWS, as you want to call them that, read the fine print because they use your data for AI training. Ironically, they fired their AI department. If you haven't read the news, read it.
So no cloud.
Okay.
This isn't
Okay.
the goal is to I don't want to create anything that can maintain more than 150 people.
Okay.
Because at that point you're no longer having regular individuals able to and so it's a exercise in sufficiency.
Okay.
What is sufficient for communities, what is easy for them to build and maintain themselves.
Okay.
And I don't see a near future where communities are maintaining data centers or cloud-based services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I was just wondering because I know everything's getting I guess I'm gonna call it pushed over to let other people do it. So
Well, yeah. So I like to say the only thing that is the opposite of big data centers is millions of small ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
I think there's a project called Venice, right? Have you heard of this?
Venus?
Yeah.
Venus project?
Venus or Venus.
With
something.
Jacques Fresco, the futurist.
I just know that it's basically encrypts your request before it's sent out, and it's like distributed compute. That's my understanding.
Yeah,
Maybe
I've
similar to what is the other one? Tau, BitTensor, where it's like distributed nodes or distributed hardware that's actually acts as your data center.
Yeah,
you're using other people's GPUs.
I've looked into that, and latency is an issue. Especially if we're trying to do live events, but background processing maybe. My husband's the tech person. I'm a designer, but yeah.
other questions?
Anybody questions in the back? All right. Well, no questions. Any thoughts, or anyone wants to chime in thoughts about their app, what they're working on, particularly related to building communities? All right. Well, thank you guys, everyone, so much for your time, your dedication to this. We're looking to grow and improve. Of course, this is our first process. You can see there's still a lot of room for improvements. If you're interested in it, please link me up on LinkedIn. I'm not too hard to find. Is Joseph, last name is Bankole, Bankole, and reach out to me. Let me know. We're looking for anyone in the founder space who's willing to help out to put the program together. So we're talking about food. We're talking about helping out with even the play-by-play, what's going on, how to improve and get better. And this community is not just, it's for you, it's for all founders. It's to help ideation stage founders, to people like Oleg or Joe, who are way farther off in their startups, help us all kind of travel the Houston journey startup together. Let's go after Silicon Valley and let's be better than Silicon Valley.
I just want to follow up on that. You'll get an email after this if you're interested in becoming more involved. Fill out the form. I'll then use whoever fills out the form to coordinate retrospective. So kind of the idea that we can come together and be like, what do we want to do next time? So I'll shoot to have that in by the end of the next week. So look out for the email. And yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a comfortable mouth.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh yeah.
Clearly not.
Houston.
Thank you.